So I know the applaud wasn't for me, but hello everyone. My name's Michael Yee. I'm the director for the Educational and Cultural Trust Fund. I'm here to just welcome you here, give you a little bit of housekeeping. The restrooms are right outside those doors in that lobby, men and women. In case of an emergency, please exit through that door or this door. The A stairwell is there and the B stairwell is there. They'll take you out, that one to the front, this one to the back, and please exit safely. We will, our staff will coordinate with you to make sure you're outside of the building. At this time, I'd like to call on the chairman of the IBEW's Executive Council. And here's our special guest, by the way, that you're waiting for. As I was saying, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the IBEW Executive Council and the business manager of Local Union Number 3, Mr. Christopher Erikson.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Welcome to the IBEW Local 3 Electrical Industry Training Center. We're happy to share our space with so many offshore wind allies today, from the White House, the state agencies, industry partners, elected officials, and friends and colleagues in labor. Local 3 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers represents nearly 28,000 members in the electrical industry throughout the 5 boroughs in New York City, Westchester, and across the tri-state area, across all facets of the industry, including construction, maintenance, transmission and distribution, manufacturing, supply, renewable energy, and more. Local 3 and the IBEW are committed to addressing the challenges of the climate crisis head-on, ensuring that a just transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy takes place in a meaningful and successful way, with a skilled and professional union workforce who earn family-sustaining wages and benefits guaranteed by union contracts and project labor agreements like the one between Equinor and the building trades. This transition and the work supported by Governor Hochul creates opportunities for the next generation of workers to join our ranks and enjoy the benefits that we enjoy as union members. This is an important day for our industry, for our members, and the entire state of New York as we collectively continue to lead the way in renewable energy and the just transition that is critical for our world and generations to come. Equinor's Empire Wind is a critical project for the state of New York, and their redevelopment of the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal is the linchpin for offshore wind's potential to create jobs and supply chain investments throughout the state and the region. The redevelopment of this port will create thousands of construction jobs and long-term operations and maintenance jobs. Offshore wind and other climate change-related projects are poised to revitalize New York City's abundant waterfront resources. Like this port, the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Industry City, and the Brooklyn Army Terminal are a few examples. Equinor's commitment to New York City's communities has been outstanding, evident by awards made through the Offshore Wind Ecosystem Fund. For example, the fund awarded $5 million in community grants in partnership with the New York City Economic Development Corporation. Local 3's Educational and Cultural Trust Fund was one of these awardees. We will continue to work with our contractors and the developer and allies in the environmental movement to make sure that the unionized construction industry shows up every day, works safely and efficiently, and does our part to create a more sustainable and brighter future. This morning, I want to read a statement from President Gary LaBarbera regarding the signing today. My sincerest apologies for not being able to join you in person today to celebrate this important milestone for the Empire Wind Project. I was called to Albany on urgent business that needed to be attended to. Despite my absence, I want to emphasize the importance of this agreement and reiterate our gratitude to Equinor for their collaboration on it. The creation of offshore wind will not only propel New York towards its climate goals, it will also provide the opportunity to create thousands of good-paying union careers, bolster our middle class, and generate much-needed economic stimulus for our local communities. The signing of this project labor agreement represents a crucial step on capitalizing on this for this project, as it will ensure New York's hardworking tradesmen and tradeswomen are able to seize these opportunities and work in an environment with strong safety standards, family-sustaining wages, and good benefits. We look forward to continuing this partnership that will allow our city and state to make the most out of the clean energy transition and improve the lives of all New Yorkers. Gary LaBarbera, President. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Molly Morris, the President of Equinor Renewables America. Molly.
Great, thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here, and a special thank you to Chris and Local 3 for hosting us today at the state-of-the-art training center. I'm looking forward to my tour later. It is an honor for Equinor to make this announcement here. Local 3 and the New York building trades have been reliable allies in getting offshore wind industry off the ground, despite a very challenging 2023. Today is a great day for all the Empire Wind stakeholders as we sign the project labor agreement for construction at the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. This agreement marks a first for our company, Equinor's first project labor agreement in the US, and it's to build offshore wind. We understand why today is so important. This agreement ensures that the work done to transform the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal into New York City's first offshore wind port will be done by the same men and women who built the skyline that you see behind me. The same union members who for generations have built this city. The same union workforce that helped transform Bush Terminal into Industry City, and who will now have the chance to finish it with a future project. Many of you also know that it has not been an easy road to get here. Getting here today has taken perseverance, and it has taken your partnership. We always knew this project was more than just renewable energy. It's about jobs, real wages, and benefits. It's about workforce development, and it's about investing in the New York economy on a generational scale. This is what we are accomplishing by signing this agreement. This partnership puts New York on a path to meet the climate goals residents have demanded. You will build the first substation to connect offshore wind power into the New York City grid. You will build Empire Wind's operations and maintenance base. And you will build New York's first offshore wind port. And we get to do it together. In closing, I'd like to say some special thank yous to Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, the Biden administration, and the building and trades, all for your leadership and strong support of offshore wind. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Equinor team who is here. Many of you have worked really hard to get this agreement to where we are today. And I'd like to give a shout out to our key contractors who are also here, Skanska, GE, Bond, and Nexans. We have many special guests joining us here, allies who have helped us achieve this agreement and who remain key partners in delivering this project. We talk a lot these days about 2024 being the year of Brooklyn, and we can't wait to get to work. There is no better partner than Brooklyn's very own majority leader, Schumer. Senator Schumer, you have not just talked about supporting offshore wind for New York. Your leadership has been instrumental in guiding the industry through its earliest growing pains. That includes making sure that the Inflation Reduction Act became a law. Senator Schumer has had a clear vision, not only for renewable power that Empire Wind will deliver, but for the wide range of benefits that will extend to Sunset Park, throughout Brooklyn, and across New York. He sees all the value of this investment, the jobs that will be created, the supply chain that the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal will help stand up. And he has made sure that New York will be the center of the action. So please join me in welcoming Majority Leader Schumer.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I love Local 3. I even have relatives in Local 3, or had till he retired. But Local 3 gave him good pay, good pension, good health benefits. I love Local 3. You're a great union. This training center is state-of-the-art. I want to thank Molly Morris from Equinor. You know, when I conceived and wrote and then got implemented all of this, I said, we ain't doing it unless we have progressive companies. We need offshore wind. New York can be the center of offshore wind in the whole country because we have a lot of people and we have a lot of shoreline and we need a lot of electricity. But I said, I'm not doing this unless labor is included and labor is protected. We don't want to see low-wage jobs with no pensions and no health benefits build this stuff. We want good pay. We want good benefits. We want good health care. And I want to thank, of course, my dear friend Chris, who I've known forever. I knew him when he was a little toddler or almost. But I also want to thank Molly Morris. Equinor is a progressive company that understood this. And they understood they couldn't skimp. And they understood that this was a partnership, as both Chris and Molly said. So thank you very much, Molly. Thank you. So I'm so happy to be here today because this does signify years of work on the legislative front and then the administrative front, and I'll get into both. But I want to thank them all. I want to thank our labor champions here. I want to thank the Biden administration. We'll hear from Mary Repko in a little bit. And I'm so proud of this signing agreement because this is what should happen throughout New York, in future agreements, and throughout the country as well. Good paying labor jobs, PLA, making sure everyone's taken into account. Now, how did this happen? The first person who actually introduced me to this idea was our public advocate, Jumaane Williams. He was talking about the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. And we'd always thought there ought to be 3 legs to the stool: environment, labor, and helping poor communities that didn't have much of a chance. And South Brooklyn Marine Terminal really met all 3 of the legs of the stool. We were coming off the historic CLCPA that was passed in New York State back in 2019, and environmental justice leaders like Elizabeth Rompierre and Eddie Bautista were pushing to make sure that green jobs and benefits came to traditional environmental, to traditional communities, in traditional environmental justice communities like South Brooklyn, like Western Queens. People who live there, hardworking people who just wanted that ladder up. And we knew that a new industry with a great future and union jobs would provide that ladder up. And so I really loved the vision. And so first we secured, it's good to have the majority leader from New York. The first one, ever. Also, by the way, I've said this before, last at I saw many of you at the St. Patrick's Day dinner. The corned beef was great, as usual. So I said that there, but I want to say it here. I'm the only New Yorker ever to have 5 terms in the Senate, and I thank you for all of that. I was elected last year, so thank you. Anyway, so we secured a $25 million grant through the Port Infrastructure Program, which I'd helped write, after vigorous advocacy to Pete Buttigieg, and I want to take off my hat to him. He understood the beauty of this immediately. And we visited South Brooklyn Marine Terminal on numerous occasions. I remember really one cold winter day in what was then just a parking lot where a lot of this is going to be built, and to put the project forward. But the thing that made it all possible with the big bucks was the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. As you know, it's the single largest investment in clean energy in history, and it took a lot of maneuvering and deal-making to make it happen. It was an amazing bill, and I'll tell you a story. You may remember when the whole thing fell apart. We needed 50 votes. That's all, and we weren't getting any help from the other side of the aisle. And I had a very diverse caucus running from Joe Manchin to Bernie Sanders. How are we going to get all of them to do it? Clean energy, a record amount. And Manchin said no, and everyone thought it went to hell in a handbasket. And then he calls me up and he says, that Monday, we sort of beat him up a little bit over the weekend. And he said, I've changed my mind, but you can't tell anybody. And for a week, he and I sat in this room and negotiated the IRA, which included the kind of projects we're working on today. And to tell you what a success it was, we thought there'd be about $370 billion in offshore wind and solar, offshore, onshore, and solar. You know how much there is right now? $1 trillion lined up, because it's so successful. And that's going to be, they're going to be PLAs, and there's going to be union jobs all over the country. And I'm very proud to say, not just in New York, we're the most unionized state in the country. We fight each year for that designation with Alaska, of all places, and sometimes Hawaii. But it's also going to be in a lot of red states. And there's going to be, since it's PLAs and Davis-Bacon, there's going to be a lot of new union workers in those red states, including electricians, which is really going to help things as well. So we sat in the room, we got it done, and when I was in that room, really feeling bad, one of the main things I thought of was the projects just like South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. I said, without this bill, it ain't happening. Offshore wind throughout New York State, particularly on Long Island. Without this bill, it ain't happening. And so I thought we had such a great thing, environment, helping communities, union labor. I said, we just got to push through and push through and push through. And my dad, who passed away a couple of years ago, he's still with me, teaching me lessons. He never had much success in life. He was an exterminator. My sister once sent him a Father's Day card that said, Dad, we're the only family that associates the smell of DDT with love, because he came home reeking of all the chemicals each night. But he taught me something. He said, if you're doing something important to yourself, your family, your job, your profession, look in your heart. Make sure it's the right thing to do. And once you're sure it's the right thing to do, persist, 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 never give up, and God will reward you and you will succeed. Well, that's what we have all done together here. The Biden administration, Local 3, Equinor, we have persisted and persisted and persisted. And now we have this vision. And it wasn't just getting the money, as was mentioned. We had some headwinds and rough seas. But in New York, as my father said, we don't quit when the going gets tough. We persist. And my team and I worked through the fall. We had to get the Treasury Department to change the guidance, because it didn't work at the beginning. And I want to give some credit to two of my great staffers. I am blessed. I've had a great staff throughout my career. And we have Patrick Donovan here. And I don't know if he's listening in, but Tim Ryder down in Washington, who did a great job as well. And here we are. We got it all done. So, in conclusion, I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be here for more announcements, more electricians, and more union labor throughout the building trades. The wind's at our back now. So here is to sailing forward to more jobs, more clean energy, more helping people who need help. It is a great day. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. So, one of the people who was instrumental in this and saw our vision and helped push our vision through, of course, was President Biden. And he's always been a union guy like I have been. I come from a family, when I first ran, the only people who supported me. No one thought I'd win, by the way. I went into my local barber, Frankie. I said, Frankie, the first day I was running for the assembly years ago. And I said, Frankie, would you put a poster in the window? And he said, kid, I never told you this. I'm not only local barber, I'm the local bookie. You're the 50-to-1 underdog. How much you laying on yourself, kid? But guess who was on my corner? Union labor. And that's how I won. And at the Union Hall that night, I said, the night I won in this upset victory, I said to the union guys who were there, you were there when I needed you, I'll always be there when you need me. Well, Joe Biden has felt exactly the same way. He comes from a similar family background, a working family background. He understands the struggles. He understands that you need good salaries, good health care, good pensions. And he was with us all the way. So I want to thank him for that. I really want to thank him because he cares. And we're going to have many, many, many more projects across the country to spend that $1 trillion. And it'll probably go up even further with more good-paying union jobs. And here representing the president is Mary Frances Repko, who's the Deputy Climate Advisor to the President. Mary Frances.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to be here, and even more of an honor to be introduced by Leader Schumer. Prior to joining the White House staff a little over a year ago, I was a 30-year congressional staffer, most recently in the Senate. So it is a true honor to be hosted here by all of you and to be following the leader quite directly. As the President's Deputy National Climate Advisor, I'm here and I'm thrilled to be celebrating progress today on really two of the President's top priorities. The first is growing our clean energy economy and creating good-paying union jobs. That's what today's Project Labor Agreement really means, and I want to congratulate the Building and Construction Trades Council and Equinor for delivering this win for workers, for the people of New York, and from our perspective at the White House, for the entire American offshore wind industry. We've really come a long, long way. When President Biden took office, this country had yet to approve any commercial scale wind projects. There were none. The jobs for our workers, the clean power for our grid, and the manufacturing activity for our factories were all still hypothetical. But now, together with all of you, we're making these opportunities a reality. Empire Wind was the Biden-Harris administration's 6th approval of a major offshore wind project. And just yesterday, we approved project number 7, another New York project that will help meet the state's clean energy goals. And of course, New York's first offshore wind project finished construction earlier this month, built by union workers. That kind of progress doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of leaders like President Biden, like Leader Schumer, like Governor Hochul, like the union workforce, and like all of my fellow speakers here, all of the people who've set a bold vision and have backed it up with direct action. If you want to take on the climate crisis, if you want to build good world-class infrastructure, and if you want to help communities flourish, one of the best actions you can take is to get good union workers on the job. I'm proud to serve the most pro-union worker, most pro-union president in our nation's history, and the administration is determined to have more announcements like today's to celebrate. As Senator Schumer said, there'll be more, and we'll be there. That's why we've built innovative new provisions into our federal leasing process for offshore wind so that we make more areas available for offshore wind development. We're supporting American supply chains, and we're driving toward union-built projects. That's why, as was explained, with President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which is, as the leader said, the largest investment in climate change ever in the history of the world, and an absolute game changer for offshore wind, we've built in prevailing wage and apprenticeship requirements so that higher clean energy tax credits also mean high quality jobs. And that's why the Biden administration will continue to use every tool available to grow the American offshore wind industry and to build on the progress that we're making, not just in New York, but up and down the East Coast, the West Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, and at shipyards and factories across the country. Because when President Biden thinks about climate, he thinks about jobs. He'd tell you that himself if he were here. And what's going to happen at the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal with highly skilled union workers building a transformational offshore wind hub is a blueprint for how we can create economic opportunities today while protecting our communities for years to come. So thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. Congratulations on this incredible achievement. And I want to recognize my colleague from the White House, Danaher, the Deputy Director for Labor at the National Economic Council.
Thank you. It is so exciting to be here. As one of the president's labor advisors, this is exactly the kind of project that we are thrilled to highlight and excited to fight for. As Mary Frances said, you know, we hear the president say it all the time. When he thinks about climate, he thinks about jobs. And this administration has set an ambitious goal for deployment of clean energy and offshore wind specifically. By 2030, we're looking for offshore wind to provide 30 gigawatts of electricity to the grid. That means 10 million homes will be powered, and that means tens of thousands of really good jobs will be created and sustained. But as we build that clean energy future, the president is committed to ensuring that that future is built in America by American workers, including and especially union members. And for the first time, as has been said before, the IRA included bonuses for clean energy tax credits for projects that pay prevailing wages, that have registered apprenticeships, and that use American-made products and materials. This is the right thing to do, and it's great for workers, but it's great for companies too. Project labor agreements like the one that's going to be signed today provide a steady supply of the best trained and highly skilled workforce in the world. And who is that? It's America's union workers. Project labor agreements have jobs that help workers to support their families and live a life of dignity. And they deliver complex projects on time and on budget for companies. Agreements like this one, they realize the president's economic vision that we can create good jobs and make sure that they are good union jobs in the industries of the future, and that we can grow the economy from the middle out and from the bottom up. We hope that this is the first of many projects in this area and many more projects like this one in offshore wind around the country. I am excited to introduce Roberta Reardon, who herself comes out of the labor movement and is New York's Commissioner of Labor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Brendan. You know, it is so fitting that we are here today for this signing. You cannot ask for a better backdrop than the city of New York. This is a fabulous view from this amazing training facility. Congratulations to Local 3. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And of course, I'm so pleased to see so many stakeholders working together on something that will guarantee family-sustaining career opportunities for their fellow New Yorkers. It's a wonderful room to be in. I'm proud to be here today on behalf of Governor Kathy Hochul. She remains the biggest supporter of New York State's national leadership in clean energy expansion. And, you know, she's a huge fan of organized labor. I know she shares my gratitude for everyone coming to the table to make this PLA possible. I'd like to begin by recognizing my dear friend, business manager of IBEW Local 3, Chris Erikson. Thank you for having me in the hall. Equinor Renewables America's president, Molly Morris. It's great to meet you. George Sassine from NYSERDA, and of course, the great Senator Chuck Schumer, and my other partners in government who are here with us today. I am so excited to be here today to celebrate this project labor agreement, and as a victory for workers, for unions, for Equinor, for Governor Hochul, and indeed for the entire great state of New York. When PLAs are in place, workers are properly compensated while ensuring that projects of this scale are completed on time and, most importantly, on budget. Everybody wins when we have PLAs. I have no doubt that we will be seeing more of these agreements very soon with other clean energy projects coming. And believe me, there are many more projects of this caliber to come here in this state. New York State is making the right moves to fuel this industry's success for years to come. We have achieved so many benchmarks in renewable energy over the last year. It's really kind of amazing. And thanks to Governor Hochul, we are keeping that trend going in 2024 and beyond. As a member of the Climate Action Council myself and co-chair of the Just Energy Transition Working Group, I am keenly attuned to this expansion. We talked about projects like this literally for 3 years straight. And as the first onshore project that will support offshore wind, the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal is tangible proof that the transition is no longer on the horizon. It is right here today, and we'll be able to see it and use it. The port will play a critical role in this industry, and with that will be great opportunities for more middle-class New Yorkers to join the green economy. This project is new infrastructure that's creating over 1,000 union jobs, union construction jobs. It will also spark additional career opportunities in manufacturing, shipping, logistics, and much, much more. But in order for New Yorkers to capitalize on these opportunities, they need training. Governor Hochul understands that workforce development is absolutely essential. And that's why the Department of Labor works so closely with NYSERDA, SUNY, partners in labor, and other stakeholders, because we know it's going to take all of us to support that workforce pipeline. Educational hubs like this incredible facility that we're in here today and registered apprenticeships are playing a vital role in helping New Yorkers get the skills they need in order to succeed in this new economy. These are exciting fields. The trades here can vouch for apprenticeships because, frankly, you've been relying on them for years. You know how important these apprenticeships are. Registered apprenticeships enable New Yorkers to get the skills they need and the experience that they need, while also giving them the ability to earn money to provide for their families while they learn their trade, and by the way, no college debt. It is a wonderful, wonderful program. The governor is also a firm believer in this program, so much so that she recently announced $45 million in funding for unions to expand their capacity to offer training specifically in clean energy careers. We have finally changed the narrative that registered apprenticeships are not an alternative to higher education. Registered apprenticeships are higher education. And thank you. And you're teaching them right here in this hub. It is really, really exciting. I want to congratulate everyone here today on this agreement. Unions are so vital to the development of this sector. We cannot do it without organized labor. And labor remains absolutely essential to our state's economic success. Our economic path forward depends on organized labor in this state. This agreement shows these workers just how important they are to this project and to this new chapter of our state's history. New York will stay strong because we are union strong. Thank you very much for inviting me today. And now it is my pleasure to welcome NYSERDA Vice President for Large-Scale Renewables, George Sassine.
Well, join me in another round of applause to the Commissioner. If it wasn't for her leadership, we couldn't do any of this today, so thank you for this. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is George Sassine. I lead the large-scale renewable infrastructure for the state of New York, and I'm honored today to be representing the CEO and President of NYSERDA, Doreen Harris, whose leadership, frankly, has been critical in creating and kickstarting the offshore wind industry here in New York. So Doreen sends her warm regards. And honestly, today is a day of very deep pride for us in the state of New York, for the team at NYSERDA, and myself personally. Last month, Governor Hochul announced that the Empire Wind Project was selected by NYSERDA for contract negotiations through a competitive process. And this new contract is going to move forward with even stronger contractual commitments than it had previously. These are new labor peace agreement. These are new investments in New York's disadvantaged communities. These are funds for regional wildlife and fisheries monitoring. And this project moving forward is the results of years of planning, years of engagement between the offshore wind industry and labor, years of persistent advocacy of local communities and environmental justice organizations, and they've held on to their vision for a working waterfront and a green economy. And today we're celebrating the advancement of a new industry for New York State. It's a new industry for New York City and for the United States. And as offshore wind is putting New Yorkers to work, it's supporting over 1,000 family-sustaining jobs, like the commissioner mentioned, and these jobs are going to be here in South Brooklyn Marine Terminal and the Brooklyn Sunset Park neighborhood. And as we reflect at NYSERDA, we play a lot of different roles in supporting the offshore wind industry, and one of our responsibilities is to review all PLAs associated with offshore wind. And we must say that this first PLA is about as union-friendly as possible, and that's exactly what we want to see going forward for the industry. So, fundamentally, we know that we cannot reach our climate goals without fully utilizing the capabilities of our local unions. And NYSERDA and the state of New York feel certain that with the nearly 30 unions involved with this project, whether it's the iron workers, the electricians, the steam fitters, the carpenters, the dock builders, the teamsters, just to name a small subset, we will get this project done on time, safely, and with family-sustaining wages. And I want to notably applaud the building trades and Equinor for including carve-outs for minority and women-owned businesses and carve-outs for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses within this PLA. These are major, major items that we take a lot of pride in. And we also applaud the inclusion of setting a hierarchy for hiring New York workers first. And this is particularly important for us, especially as we focus on low-income workers and greater participation of labor apprentices and local hires. This is truly a project that's going to be built by New Yorkers for New Yorkers. I couldn't be prouder to be here today. And I know President Gary LaBarbera is not with us today, but I'm going to summon him and say that, Gary, Chris, Molly, we're counting on all of you to build this project. So thank you all, and congratulations, and many more to come. So it takes a village to build an offshore wind project. One of the contractors and key partners to Equinor in this project is going to be GE Vernova, and I'm happy to introduce Vish Kunipoli to take the stage. Vish.
Hi, my name is Vish Kunapoli, and I'm representing GE Vernova over here. And I can't be more excited being a New Yorker and seeing this project from the nascent stage to where we are, and looking forward, to the building of the project very soon. So GE Vernova is proud to collaborate with Equinor on this landmark initiative, Empire Wind Project. And this project underscores our shared commitments of advancing renewable energy solutions, throughout the world. So we are really, really excited to be a part of the project. The project labor agreement underscores our shared commitments to foster skilled, sustainable workforce in New York. And we are partnering with the Bond Civil Utilities in delivering the onshore substation and the interconnect cable over here in SBMT. And we are also supplying the high voltage equipment and the design for the offshore substation. So that is the role of GE in this project. And I would welcome or introduce Kane Curry from Bond Civil Utilities to go further on this, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to start by extending our gratitude and appreciation to Equinor on the opportunity to partake in this historic project alongside our esteemed GE Vernova. We are honored and excited to be able to join forces on a transformative clean energy initiative for the state of New York, right here in New York City. Bond's legacy, spanning 5 generations and 117 years as a union contractor, fuels our passion for excellence. We take great pride in contributing to the strength and resilience of the communities we serve. And as we embark on this project and beyond, we look forward to strengthening our ties with the New York building trades, reinforcing our commitment and collaboration to this progress. But we can't overlook the heartbeat of all of this, and that is the New York workforce, as you've heard today. We are thrilled to be able to employ hundreds of skilled local workers, ensuring that this project not only powers our city, but empowers its people. We look forward to working together to pave the way for a brighter, greener future for New York. And with that, I'd like to introduce John Cavallaro, Skanska.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Cavallaro from Skanska. I'm also Skanska's National Labor Council. In preparing for today, the communications team told me I'm limited to 2 minutes. But I'd like to take those 2 minutes and actually reduce them to 2 words: labor harmony. This PLA is reflective of labor harmony across the Trade Council, the affiliate unions, the owner Equinor, and the 3 prime contractors. And let's face it, without labor harmony, nothing gets done. Skanska has built some of the most iconic projects in the New York City area, and we see this project as no different. A special thanks to Gary LaBarbera from the Trade Council, along with Mike Basso and Santos Rodriguez, and each of the business managers and business agents and union leadership like Chris Erikson. Chris, Local 3 was so important to this PLA, thank you. The time and effort that Chris and his team, Gary and his team, and all of the constituent unions spent on this PLA is very much appreciated. To the owner, Mark Hannon, Steve Silvestri, you spearheaded this effort. You kept us all organized, kept us on schedule, and kept us in check. And to my co-contractors, the GE Bond and the Nexans team, it's not so easy putting 3 prime contractors in a room and hoping something gets done. The collaboration that we showed internally was outstanding. I have the benefit of negotiating PLAs really all over the country for Skanska. I'm very proud of this PLA, and we look forward to working on this amazing project. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Minardi. I'm the head of communications for Nexans, generation and transmission business. We're really excited to be working with Equinor on Empire Wind, providing the cables necessary to deliver power to New Yorkers. I think ports are so critical to offshore wind, and it's wonderful that the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal is finally happening. I think this is a major step, not just for New York, but for the American energy transition happening right here, right now. We'd like to thank Equinor for making this PLA possible and with whom we truly enjoy working. We are looking forward to getting our export cable for Empire Wind in the water with the New York workforce. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to invite our speakers, labor leaders, and other dignitaries to join us for our ceremonial signing.